Hey there guys, a very happy new year to you. It's time for another game of Twilight Struggle, the first of 2018 against Eelusion, who I've invited via Reddit. He currently has a very interesting series on his YouTube channel where he tries to get to 2,000 points on Twilight Struggle. I'd thoroughly recommend it, it's very interesting. So we're going to do bid for size today. I'm thinking of doing +1 USSR, and if he places +2 for the Soviets, then hopefully we'll get 2 extra influence as the Americans, which is exactly what's happened, so very good. Okay, you too. So he'll also be recording this game at the same time, I believe, so it'll be interesting to see the game from his perspective with his cards. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he perceives the game. So yeah, we'll wait for him to do his setup. Looking at our hand, we've got a decent hand here. Lots of ops, some nice events as well. We can use UN with socialist governments. Containment is nice. Special relationship is nice in case NATO is triggered. We've got a nice big 4-ops card with nuclear test ban. So yeah, nothing to complain about here. I'm thinking of headlining containment because if he headlines Red Scare, then it'll cancel that out and we'll still have a decent hand ops-wise. And B, if he doesn't have Red Scare, which is hopefully the case, then we're going to get a huge benefit this round. Every card, with the exception of Nuclear Test Ban, will be 1 extra. So now we do have socialist governments, so normally if I didn't have socialist governments in my hand, I'd want to put 1 extra now into Italy. But seeing as we don't, I think we'll make him choose between Iran and Italy by placing 3 into Iran as well. So yeah, like I said, I think containment is the way to go here. Now he hasn't placed 1 into Austria or Yugoslavia, which makes me think that he might have Truman Doctrine. I know I've made that play before where I put the extra 1 into Poland, so Truman Doctrine has to be used on Finland. So yeah, I don't see the point in doing anything else really, so I think we'll play containment. We will keep Arab-Israeli until the end in case he has blockade, because obviously that now becomes a 3-ops card thanks to containment. So he plays captured Nazi, so he's trying to get some early victory points. So a couple of things he could do here. He could coup. If he has a 4-ops, he could try to realign us out of Iran. Yeah, there's a number of options for him here. The fact that he played captured Nazi scientist as well makes me think that he might have been worried about defectors, because it's a relatively safe headline. Oh no, I'm completely wrong, there's defectors. So ignore that. I didn't say that. Right, so he goes into Iraq to sort of counter our 4 points in the Middle East, which is a good play. I think given that, so he can't realign us out, I think taking Afghanistan is pretty crucial. Now the question is what to do with these 2 ops. So there's a number of things really. We could maybe go into Egypt to sort of force him to think, if he has Nasser, do I use that? Does he try to coup us out of there to prevent us from gaining access to Libya? We could start moving on France, I suppose, again to sort of force him to play de Gaulle if he has that. Another thing we could do is place 2 into Jordan, which I don't think would be a bad play here, because now if he coups Afghanistan, we can't really move into Pakistan because he can just coup Pakistan anyway. So I'm thinking if we coup Jordan, we could then potentially realign him out of Iraq, and sort of force his hand there. That might force him to then take Saudi Arabia to protect as a buffer against that instead of attacking Iran. I'm not too sure how he'll respond to that because you don't see that play very often. But we've sort of attacked him on 2 fronts there. We've moved into Afghanistan, so we're threatening Western Asia, and we're also threatening Iraq with the realignment. So we'll see what he does. I also need to bear in mind that the DEFCON is still at 5, so Italy is also still a potential target. Okay, here comes duck and cover. And a coup, so where's he going to go? Iran? Yeah. Okay. So he's a little bit unfortunate there, he doesn't knock us out. Given that DEFCON is at 3, I think we'll use independent Reds, we'll buffer up Iran again, and then we'll move into Malaysia to threaten Thailand. So, if he has decall or Vietnam, that forces him to prioritise that and use that now. We can also now move into Pakistan without too many risks being involved. Hopefully he doesn't have the Indo-Pakistani war card. And also, now that we've taken Iran back, he'll still be worried about that realignment in Iraq, so maybe he might want to try to coup us out again. So yes, some things to think about for him there. If he doesn't play blockade, then I think we will space Arab-Israeli war at the end to hopefully match him on the space race and gain a crucial victory point. Yeah. It was good play on his part to target Iran though, because obviously if he had been successful, then that would have then forced us to prioritise Pakistan over Malaysia potentially to prevent him from gaining that foothold in Western Asia. If I were him though, I do think dropping DEFCON is a priority. Okay, so he's coming for the coup again. Okay, so yeah, I think he was trying to prevent us from realigning him there, which is why he queued first with CIA. Okay, so not a great hand for him. He does have decall though, which we need to be mindful of, but he was pretty low on ops there. So now essentially we have 2 turns. So what I think I'll do is, he doesn't have NASA either, so I think I'll move into Egypt. Oh, that's 2, isn't it? Sorry, it's worth 2. I always forget that it's always worth 2 on containment. So yeah, I think I'll place 1 into Egypt and then place 1 into Thailand because he does have decall. So I think if we place 2 into Thailand now, then we can prevent him from thinking that he can take it basically. So what else can you take with decall? He can go into Laos as well. Yeah, I think we'll grab Laos to sort of prevent him from blocking us off there, and then we'll move into Libya as well. I'm guessing he'll probably play decall now, try to threaten France, at which point we'll probably just take it to force him to play de Gaulle if he does get that at a later stage. He doesn't have blockade as well, so we could use Arab-Israeli for the event. We'll place 1 into Egypt and Lebanon before... sorry, not Lebanon. Yes, we would, sorry, excuse me. Okay, so here comes decall. Algeria and Thailand. Oh no, Burma. Okay. So that's wise on his part. Because obviously we know he has the Indo-Pakistani war card. So now if we make a dash for India, there's always that risk that he could take it anyway and flip it back. So I think I'll threaten India with Pakistan. and then I'll place 2 into France to not make France look tempting. A good thing about us placing 3 into Thailand is it prevented him from placing 1 there, so he now can't flip it with the China card, because he sort of recognises that we know that he can flip it with the China card. So he decided to, in my opinion, very wisely place it into Burma to threaten India. He's also blocked us off from Angola, which is good. Well, it's good for him, not good for us, but yeah, so we're not doing too badly at this stage. The Middle East is looking good. We still have to be wary of NASA, though. Asia looks like it's probably going to be even. We haven't seen Korean War yet, so that's still up for grabs for both sides. Yeah, I think given that he has the Indo-Pakistani war card, I think he probably might try to take that now. Which would also mean we'd have to place 2 into Pakistan to prevent him from flipping it with the China card, which we will do with nuclear test ban, and then with the other 2 we'll probably take Libya and Egypt. Okay, there's Truman. So we can only take it out of Finland. So yeah, we predicted correctly that he did have Truman, which I think is what prevented him from placing 1 into either Yugoslavia or Austria earlier on. So he gets that out of the deck, which is wise. Can be a very powerful event later on in the game. And he goes into India, so we do need to protect Pakistan now. So yeah, like I said, 2 into Pakistan, which gives us domination. 1 into Egypt, and then 1 into France to give ourselves European domination. So as the US, we're actually dominating in all 3 regions in the early war, which is very, very rarely seen. However, that could quickly change because, you know, de Gaulle is still out there, Suez Crisis is still out there. There are lots of opportunities for him to potentially flip France. And it might be hard for us to take that back if he does do something like that, because he has got rid of Truman. So yeah, he is going to get 2 points for military ops, but we can't really do anything about that. We don't have any war cards, and we couldn't coup, obviously. I'm guessing India and South Korea. Yeah. I actually overprotect North Korea, which is why. So I think with Arab-Israeli war, we will. I mean, he'd have to roll a 6 to be successful, and we've got 3 ops from this. I'm now concerned with protecting France from de Gaulle, and if we place 2 into France, then he basically couldn't take France with the China card. So I'm praying that he doesn't roll a 6. And he rolls a 3. Okay. So arguably a misplay that we didn't put 1 into Lebanon, but I think we had other priorities to focus on there.
Are nurtured by misery and want. They spread and grow in the evil soil of poverty and strife. They reach their full growth when the hope of a people for a better life has died.
Okay, so good news. We have both of the cards that we were worried about. So de Gaulle and Suez are now very, very manageable. We also have D-Star, so providing he doesn't play blockade, we can hopefully keep that into turn 3. So it doesn't go into the reshuffle. We also have Asia that we're leading in at the moment, which makes me want to play US-Japan. The sort of bad news is that we have NASA, so it might confuse things in Egypt slightly. But overall, not a bad hand. I mean, de Gaulle is more than manageable. And Suez is as well, thanks to us protecting France. So what I think we'll do is I think we'll play US-Japan, which should give us Asian domination. Yeah, because that'll give us an extra battleground. And then we'll play Asia scoring after that. It also lowers the chances of the Korean War card being successful, which is a good thing. He could potentially play Indo-Pakistani, because I think he's held that. He would need a 6 though. He could have a whole host of nasty events. Okay, so he's trying to prioritise victory points with the Olympic Games. So, you know, we're going to have to participate. We can't give him 4 ops. Oh wow! So we actually win that, which is pretty unfortunate for him. I can't do the math now on the spot, but I think that's pretty unlikely to happen. I think if he coups, we'll play Asia scoring to prevent him from taking, say, South Korea. I think Libya would be a good coup target, or maybe Iran, to increase his chances of success with the Indo-Pakistani war card. But yeah, it's very rare that you see the host actually lose the Olympics. But it's just one of those things, unfortunately. I think he might be more tempted to coup than, say, take South Korea, because if he doesn't coup, then we could realign him out of Iraq, which would then put him into a lot of trouble in the Middle East. You know, we could then potentially play for control. So we'll see what he does. A very happy New Year to you all, by the way. I hope you had a good night on New Year's Eve. I hope you didn't drink too much. I certainly didn't. Yeah, I just went out with some friends. It was a nice evening. Saw some people I've not seen for quite some time. So here's Marshall Plan. So with that, we can actually now play De Gaulle freely, because even though we have to take 2 and give him 1, that'll still give us 4-1 in France. So yeah, we'll bulk up France, we'll bulk up West Germany and Italy, and then he has access to Turkey, so we'll put 1 into Turkey, 1 into Greece, and then because we have Suez Crisis, we'll put 1 into the UK to overprotect it and make it more repairable when we do trigger that event. So yeah, Europe is firmly on lockdown now, as long as we don't lose West Germany. Okay, so he is queuing, so I'm going to play Asia scoring now. Oh, that's nasty. That really is nasty. The dice haven't been in his favour up until now. So yeah, I'm going to play Asia scoring, get a quick 6 points. Priorities for us now: we need to repair Libya. We could walk into Saudi Arabia with, say, Comecon. Could potentially take South Korea, but you know, we need 4 ops, and then there's the chance of the Korean War kicking us out. So I'm not too keen on that play. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for him to roll a 1, but unfortunately it does happen sometimes. I'd be fuming if this was me, so I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible. Okay, so we'll play Comecon. So we have destalinisation, so we know that we're not giving him some easy destyle points with that. And I think with these 3 ops, we'll repair Libya, and then we'll place the other 2 into Saudi Arabia to sort of race him there, you know, stop him from just placing 2 ops and taking it outright. I think at some point we do need to consider taking South Africa, because he has Africa on lockdown at the moment, and although obviously the scoring card will come out a little bit later, we don't want to give him an easy African control.
And that there are no international problems which men of goodwill cannot solve or adjust.
the extra one in West Germany from Marshall Plan also helps protect against Willy Brandt when he comes out later on. Because usually it's quite an inconvenient card for the Americans, because it just becomes a sort of annoying one-ops card that they have to, they have to use one of the points to repair West Germany and then use the point elsewhere. Whereas by doing that, we can now use both of the ops. Okay, so he's prioritising Africa. So I think we'll get rid of de Gaulle. We'll still overprotect France to protect it from potential socialist governments, and then we'll grab Saudi Arabia from him. He must have another low ops hand if he had to use Marshall Plan as his coup card. So how much is the Middle East worth now? 5. Yeah, it's a pretty rare position to be in as the US, to be ahead in all 3 regions in the early war. Okay, so he grabs Cuba with Fidel. I suppose, what could we do? I suppose we could get Suez out of the deck to prevent him making any France plays later on. We'll just overprotect it like we did and then take the UK back. The UK is important in case he triggers NATO, because it can be quite a powerful event.
Sobre la cuestión acerca de si la lucha armada es el único camino para la liberación, lo que puedo responder es que, por lo menos en las condiciones de nuestro país, no había otro camino.
So my thought process is there, we'll overprotect France to prevent him, say, being able to take it with socialist governments, because if we just left 4 in France, then he could have taken 2 away and then used the 4 ops card to flip it. So by putting 5 in, we're basically preventing him from doing that. And then I'll put the extra 1 back into Israel. I mean, we could just take Lebanon and prevent him from flipping Israel with the Arab-Israeli war card. So I'm not too concerned about that being flipped. It is well defended as well. So I don't want to sort of tantalise him there and, make Israel look like an easy target. So he needs to put in 5 ops there if he wants to take it, which is hugely expensive for a Middle Eastern battleground. Okay, so he needs a 6 here, and he rolls a 4, which is pretty. It's to be expected, really. I mean, he'd have needed a 6 to win there. So I suppose with NATO, I don't want to play Nasser yet in case he has the Middle East scoring card. I think we'll grab South Africa to prevent him from, like I said earlier, completely taking over Africa. And then what's the country count like in Europe? So we don't need to worry about that for now. We've got 2 more here. I suppose, I'm not sure really. I suppose we could start moving into Israel, or maybe, I don't know, we could break India. I'm not really sure. I didn't really know what to do with those last 2 ops. I suppose my thought process there is, with South Korea, he's probably going to take South Korea because we still haven't seen the Korean War card, which makes me reluctant to play that. And if he does take South Korea, then Asia will be even again. So if I break India, then I suppose it sort of makes him worry because we have the China card. I don't know. It's arguably a poor play. Well, I think it's a poor play anyway. But we had 2 extra ops. We might as well do some damage with them. And there's blockade. So we do have to get rid of D-Style, unfortunately, which is very good play on his part. It brings D-Style back into the deck. Now we do have Nasser, so I think it does turn Nasser into an easy coup target. A couple of options with this one up. We could place 1 into Egypt, but I think he'll probably coup it anyway next turn. So I think I'll place that 1 into India. So hopefully if we get a 4-op card, we won't have to use the China card.
So my country's purpose is to help us move out of the dark chamber of horror into the light. To find a way by which the minds of men, the hopes of men, the souls of men everywhere can move forward toward peace and happiness and well-being.
So some big cards here. We've got Red Scare, which I think will be our headline. We've got Europe scoring, which is great. We've also got Middle East scoring, so there's going to be a big cash in of victory points, hopefully. We also have Decol, so we know he's not going to use that again. Things he must have drawn. I don't think we've seen 5-year plan. Let me just check. No, we haven't seen 5-year plan, so we must have that. But the good news is we've got the 2 scoring cards that are in our favour. You know, I mean, I know Asia is in our favour as well, but I think he could easily flip that potentially with South Korea. Oh, speaking of South Korea, we know he must have the Korean War card as well. I'm just trying to think of other things that we haven't seen yet. He must have Vietnam. We haven't seen that. But yeah, I think Red Scare is the way to go here. It sort of kicks in while he's down. Okay. So that doesn't hurt us in Europe, which is good. Whereas Middle East, it could cause a problem. You know, if he puts one in Libya and then decides to coup Libya, it would reduce our points down to 3. I think we'd only get 3 from that play. He might just take, another. As I was just about to say, I think he might then take Egypt and coup Libya to sort of even it up. So he kicks us out, which is good play. So it sort of forces us to respond there. So I think we'll go and place 2 back into Libya to retain domination. So yeah, so that was good play on his part. Probably take India. Yeah. So he does have Korean War, which makes me reluctant to play that card for the event. I think I've just talked a load of nonsense as well about the points there. I don't think I did the math correctly, but never mind. He might even potentially play Korean War for the event to try and get some points back. I think we'll space Decol. Might even consider using NORAD for the event. But the dice just haven't been very friendly to our opponent here. I think that Iran coup at the start made all the difference. So there's Vietnam, like we said. Yeah, I think he's trying to tempt us to, say, waste the China card in South Korea, and then he could then play the Korean War card. I'm not going to fall into that trap. I mean, I know it's only a 2/3 chance, but I still don't want to risk losing the China card. You know, that's a huge card to get rid of, only to then be, Kim Jong-un out of South Korea. So yeah, there's the Korean War card. So what I might do now to sort of counter that play is play the China card into South Korea, which if he has Asia scoring will then give us 6, and obviously because he's under Red Scare, it'll make it very hard to take back, and then we'll be on the verge of winning, hopefully. There's formation. So he goes into South Korea. So we'll grab that for now. Also, the fact that he's played formation serves as an incentive for me to walk into Taiwan, which I think is good for us because obviously it gives us an extra victory point, but it also serves as another dice modifier to the Korean War. So if he were to redraw that, he'd have to roll a 6 to flip South Korea. I suppose with NORAD we could go into Colombia. And there's Indo-Pakistani again. Ooh, almost. Roll to 5. I suppose what could we do here? We could go into Colombia, we could space decol. We could put 1 into Canada with UN and then play NORAD for the event. I quite like spacing though, you know, trying to get that extra victory point, which we don't unfortunately. But you know, we already had 2 from the military ops. So I wanted to counter that a little bit, but never mind.
Приветствовать недавно принятые в члены Организации Объединенных Наций государства и передать им пожелания благополучия и процветания.
Okay. So Central America is something to look out for. You know, we need to take Mexico soon, potentially. Warsaw hasn't been played, which makes me reluctant to play John Paul for the event. We could potentially get some points from arms race. We have UN intervention, so we need to play that before we play U2 incident. We'll probably play that with Allende to prevent him getting into the southern tip of South America. It's a decent hand. It just nothing really jumps out at me as a headline. I think what we will do though is, seeing as we've given him the China card, I think we'll take that back with Usuri, because you know he might want to make a play for South Korea. Who knows? Yeah, if we take Mexico, then we'll score Central America for even. The good thing about us playing Nasser earlier means that now Sadat will flip Egypt, which is nice. I think Africa is the most concerning region at the moment. We should think about flipping Angola with flower power if we can. Ooh, ABM. Okay, so I think he'll be going for a coup in Thailand, yeah, and he flips it. So that makes me think that he might have Asia scoring, but because there's only 2 in Thailand now, that puts him in a predicament again. Because you know we are neighbouring Thailand, and if he doesn't overprotect it, then I'm just going to flip it again with the China card. So you know, does he prioritise the coup here, or does he overprotect Thailand? So it would have been useful for him to just roll 1 higher there. But you know, there's good play on his part. You know, he's taken away that Asian domination from us, which was a source of quite a few points. So yeah, I think he's going to overprotect, and he puts 1 into Cameroon to secure himself African domination. So with that, I think we will use. I mean, with arms race, we're unlikely to get the full benefit out of this because he has 4 military ops already. I think we'll protect ourselves in South Africa and coup Angola, and then with that we can potentially flip Zaire as well. We get a 3, which is nice. So he can't knock us out now with Portuguese Empire or South African unrest. Africa scoring, so that's good play on his part. So yeah, like I said, I think we'll use UN intervention, get rid of Allende. I suppose with the 1-op we could coup Cameroon, but it's already been scored, so I don't really see the point of doing that. We could try for a quick realignment in Cuba, which we don't get unfortunately. But with there, I was more concerned with not giving him the extra point from U2 incident by playing UN, because I think he can get the point as well if the US plays the events. Yeah, either by US or the USSR. So after this, we have a couple of options. Seeing as he flipped Thailand, we could take Taiwan to you know, regain Asian domination. We should also probably take Mexico. Okay, so he's spacing. Yeah, I think I like that play actually to take. I prefer that to taking Mexico. So if we take Taiwan, then we get Asian domination back, and it also serves as a good buffer later on to Korean War if he is to get that. And he fails that roll, so he doesn't get those 2 points from Man in Space. So yeah, like I said, I don't really want to play John Paul because we've not triggered Warsaw Pact yet. So I think I'll grab Mexico and even up Central America ever so slightly. It also prevents him from taking Mexico outright if he has liberation theology. Okay. Okay, so he's gone into Venezuela now. Not an awful lot we can do about that. I suppose we could try for the realignment. Might be worth a go. I mean, I prefer to kick him out of Cuba because we do have Central America scoring, so we'll try that again. Oh, wow. Wow, so we could actually score that for control now. I think with the other 2, we'll try for Venezuela. Fail. Okay. So good news for him, good news for us. You know, he stays strong in South America, whereas we kick him out of Cuba. So what I'm going to do now is with flower power, I'm going to grab Cuba and hopefully score that for control. I'm not really sure. I'll just take it out of Yugoslavia, I think. I think with that he'll overprotect Venezuela and then go into Brazil to prevent Panama Canal and Voice of America, which he does. So yeah, like I said, we'll take Cuba with flower power, and then with this extra 1, I suppose if he has South America, we'll go into Colombia to take 2 points away from him there. Also prevents him realigning Panama. We now have a +2 modifier there instead of just +1. She's going to coup us there. He only gets a 1 though, so he still doesn't have domination.
We dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed.
Okay, so a really strong hand for US events. The one thing we do need to be careful of though is that we have South America scoring, but the good news is we also have puppet governments, so with that we can go into Chile and Argentina. I think the play here is play grain sales, hopefully coup Brazil, and then place the puppet governments into Chile and Argentina to hopefully score a domination there as well. We still haven't seen Asia scoring, so that must be out. Another thing we need to be careful of is Southeast Asia scoring. He's 1 ahead, I think, because he controls Thailand, so we should probably take a couple of countries there. And we have colonial rearguard, so we might use that for taking some Southeast Asian countries. We've got Nixon as well, so we could potentially play the China card. But if we do play the China card, then we're going to lose Taiwan as a battleground country. So I'm not too sure about that. We get missile envy. Have we seen duck and cover? No, we haven't. But the DEFCON's still at 3, so it's not a problem if not. We haven't seen any of. We haven't seen We Will Bury You, and we haven't seen Muslim Revolution. So I think we'll take the risk here and play it for the event. You know, at the very worst, we're just limiting his ops to 2 at the end. You know, on the first action round of this turn. But hopefully we get, say, Wheelberry or Muslim Revolution. That would be very nice. We're also taking 2 cards out of his hand. Oh, JFK, nice. So we know that he only has 3 up cards. We'll get rid of South African Unrest and Quagmire. I think also we'll get rid of South America, because at the very best we can only score it for even. Puppet governments and colonial rearguards are still very good. Latin American. I suppose we can have a gamble with this and hopefully draw something better. Yeah, we'll see what we get. So we get Brush War, which is nice, duck and cover, and D-Style as well, which I think we'll be spacing. Well, I don't think, I know. We're definitely spacing D-Style. Yeah, we can use Sadat for the event. We know he doesn't have Muslim Revolution in his hand, so that's good. And he only gets a 1 in Angola, so we still need to think about protecting that from you know, South African Unrest or Portuguese Empire. How many will we get from Asia? 6. So we're going to get military ops from Brush War. If we space D-Style, then that might force him to play Asia now if he does have it, and we're successful, which is good. With Puppet, we'll, like I say, we'll go into the southern tip of South America. There's Voice, so he's getting rid of that, and he fails. So yeah, I think we'll go on the offensive now. Go into Argentina, Chile, and where can we go with the other one? I suppose, I mean, Southeast Asia hasn't been scored yet, so we could maybe put one into Indonesia to even up Southeast Asia scoring. I guess, I mean, there's... Oh, actually, now I've confirmed that. I think I should have put it into Saharan states to realign Algeria. But I suppose if I had done that, then he is in France, so he could have just walked back in. So yeah, arguably a misplay, but it's not the end of the world. There's Camp David. Yeah, the dice really don't like him today. So let's sort of secure South America. Where could we go with Brush War? I suppose Thailand. I think that would be a good target. We will give him 2 points from Flower Power, unfortunately, though. So what we could do is we could use colonial rearguards, place one into Thailand, and then threaten to flip it with the China card. So it then doesn't matter if we lose Taiwan as a battleground country. Okay, so yeah, he's making that play for Southeast Asia, so he's 2 ahead, so we can threaten Africa, and then we can break him there to make the Brush War odds, you know, Brush War odds more in our favour, and then we can take Malaysia, so that evens Southeast Asia up, and we know he doesn't have decolonisation because we spaced that in turn 3, I think. Yeah, just making sure. So he's now got more things to think about. You know, does he prioritise Vietnam if he has that to protect Thailand? Oh, okay. Right. I think we need to respond to that, really. I mean, Panama's not that much of an issue, but I think we definitely need to take Mexico back because it's a border nation and worth more points. We could also flip Africa here by taking Zaire. you know, he'll have to place 2 into Panama to take that back, and it's already been scored, so I'm not massively worried about that. And then what's he got here? Ah, so I think, would that have been the game? Yeah, it would have been. It's a good play on his part. So he grabs Panama. He also doesn't have any cards left, and we have 2 action rounds, so we could have a bit of fun here. Then again, maybe not. So we do sacrifice 2 points there with Brush War, but I think Thailand is the best target. Oh, we roll a 1. So I don't think we can complain about the dice this game, though. They have been quite cruel to our opponent. And then we'll grab Egypt with Sadat. Yeah, so I'm a bit worried about Muslim revolution. Obviously, the more countries you take, the less effective it becomes. Okay. So kitchen debates is good. It gives us 2 points. We've already used UN, so we can't play We Will Bury You without losing 3 points. I quite like Panama Canal here because it breaks, obviously, Panama and sort of forces him to repair that. And he has Brezhnev, so he's going to get some extra ops here. OPEC isn't a huge deal. It's, you know, we could break one of the countries and then place the other op elsewhere to only give him 1 point from that. But yeah, we need to space We Will Bury You. Willy Brandt, like I said earlier, isn't much of an issue because West Germany is overprotected. So there's Lone Gunman. Okay, so he prioritises Zaire. So with that, we can now take Panama back, which is good news for us. We should probably coup Cameroon at some point to threaten Nigeria. He spaces that, good play. So he gets 2 points from that. So I'm going to space now to prevent him from potentially spacing again. And we fail. Okay. So that's not great. So he's going to be able to see our headline next turn, which we need to be wary of. So we'll play that for the event. Get ourselves a nice 2 points. We could say, like, slam the China card into maybe India and then play Cultural Revolution to stop him from redrawing that and stealing it from us. Another thing we need to do is place 2 into Chile to prevent any Allende related incidences. Yeah, so there's Southeast Asia, which I think we're even in. Yeah. So what to do? I suppose if we coup now, we take away his African domination and we threaten Nigeria if we get in, which we do in a big way. So it sort of forces him to place ops there, and we do get our military ops as well, which is nice. We could also realign Zaire. Oh, okay, so he's fighting us back in Africa. So yeah, I think we'll use Willy Brandt to protect Angola. He's also got his non-battleground back with the Southeast African states, so that's good play from him. Seeing as we need to give up the China card, I think if he doesn't overprotect Nigeria, then we'll put all of the points from the China card into Nigeria and then play Cultural Revolution. Well, big 4 ups with NATO. Yeah, so he overprotects NATO. He overprotects Nigeria. And that's good news for us that NATO's in place, so now special relationship can prove pretty devastating. Suppose we lose Asian domination with that. If we place 1 into the Saharan states, then we could threaten the realignment in Algeria. You could break Algeria. So if we win the realignment, then we get Algeria because we have 2 there already. And then with the extra 1, we could go into, I'm not sure, I suppose overprotect West Germany to stop any socialist government plays. And then with that, we'll play Cultural Revolution. So, by placing 1 into the Saharan states, we threaten Nigeria with the realignment, we threaten Algeria, we take away his African domination. Multiple things achieved with one play. And we sort of have to get rid of the China card because we do have cultural. And I'd rather give him the 1 point from cultural than the 2 from OPEC. So there's defectors. So he's prioritising Nigeria over Algeria. Okay, so he gives us a point from defectors, which is nice. So it sort of cancels out the Cultural Revolution play. And then I think we'll go for the realignment. Nice. No. Okay, so he's got to think about that. You know, it's taken domination away from him again.
For the first time, because the people of the world want peace, and the leaders of the world are afraid of war, the times are on the side of peace.
Okay, so we have Europe and Central America, which are both in our favour. Central America gives us 8, which will take us up to 19, and then Europe gives us 5. So I'm thinking if we play Bear Trap, then play Central America on the next turn, then unless anything drastic is achieved in Europe, which I don't see how it can be, then that should be the game. Apart from that, it's not a great hand, but that should give us the game, hopefully. Fingers crossed, unless anything crazy happens. You know, I mean, we don't want to play Decol, we don't want to play Cambridge 5 at the moment, we don't want to play OPEC, which leaves us with very few ops, so I'm hoping that this works. Oh no, where's he going to go with this? Yes! Oh my god. Saved by the 1. So he gets rid of grain sales. Yes, we're gonna do just that. We're gonna play Central America for 19. We get to 19. Central America isn't worth 19. And then unless he can, so he gets 3 points from that. So that's still the game. So very well played to Illusion there. I think the dice were just ridiculous. Really unfavourable towards him. And I think because of that, because of some poor coups in the early war, the US was able to sort of storm ahead, which is very hard for the US in the early war. But he put up a very good fight, and he's obviously a very good and experienced player. It's just, you know, with that experience, you still occasionally do need the dice to be on your side, and they were just brutal to him today. So that's the game. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Please check out eelusion's channel. He has some really good videos on there, and I also, like I say, I also believe that he has recorded this game, so it'll be nice to see that from his perspective. But very well played to him. It was a very enjoyable match, and I hope you've also enjoyed watching as well. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you want to see more like it, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.